What's going on, everybody?
Hey everyone, welcome in.
Welcome. We got a couple people already hanging out in the chat tonight. TM Nerdy, Comics Talk Weekly, Real Rude 6. And I just saw Sheena hop in here, HQ Wifey. What's going on? And Justin Malone. Welcome in, everybody.
What's up, everyone?
So thanks for hopping in, hanging out with us on a Wednesday night instead of reading your
Happy new comic book day. Well, big day.
Yeah. But we got a special interview tonight for you guys. Welcome someone back to the channel that we've had on before. He's the 3-time Ringo Award nominated comics writer of Spencer and Locke, Going to the Chapel, Grand Theft Astro, Scouts Honor, Roxy Rewind, and the one we're talking about tonight, the OZ, the Occupied Zone. Please welcome David Pepose.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. Excited to catch up, and excited to talk about the return of the OZ live on Kickstarter.
Yeah. And kick things off, I'll drop the link for people to see it on Kickstarter into the chat. For everyone who's watching live or watching on the replay, it's also down in the description below. But kick it off talking about what is the OZ about?
Sure. For those who aren't familiar with our book, the OZ is like what if the Hurt Locker took place in The Wizard of Oz. It's about Dorothy Gale's granddaughter, who's a disillusioned Iraq war veteran who finds herself stranded in the war-torn land of Oz. And as she discovers her grandmother killing 2 wicked witches and convincing the Wizard of Oz to split, and then clicking her heels 3 times and leaving, caused a power vacuum not unlike Baghdad, and left Oz in decades of brutal civil war. And so now our new Dorothy has to navigate her grandmother's former friends, the Tin Soldier, the Scarecrow, and the Prince of Lions, if she hopes to survive the horrors of the Occupied Zone, or as the locals call it, the OZ. So, if you're a fan of things like Mad Max, or The Old Guard, or Fables, or DMZ, or Fallout, or Lord of the Rings, you're going to love this book. We're pulling from a lot of...
in the middle of rewatching Lord of the Rings right now.
Yeah, we're pulling from a lot of different influences on this, and delivering something that it's action packed, it's dark with a heart, and I think there's something for everyone in this, and I really do think it's some of the best work that I've been associated with so far in my career.
Yeah, definitely a fun read.
Yeah, and so I read it back a little bit after you were on when we were talking about Scouts Honor, and then I just reread it again recently, and when I posted about it, someone was commenting. I think it was someone you did an interview with, also Blake.
Yeah.
He was like, it gets better every time you read it, and I was like, it does. It's. I was just like, oh, I didn't notice this before. Oh, this is okay. It's a little nod to this. It's really enjoyable, especially. I mean, you're a fan of The Wizard of Oz too, like just
I was loving the little
what
bits
could happen after that.
Thank you. It's. I mean, working with somebody as talented as Ruben Rojas on the artwork, and colors Whitney Kogar, and letter T.C. Hopkins, and our murderers row of cover talent. It's been a positive feedback loop the entire time that we've been working on this book. Every time that sort of somebody else adds to the mix, it just encourages the rest of us to bring our A game. And it's just been a really fun book to work on in so many ways. And I think it's because, in part, we're really betting on ourselves in a big way by going on Kickstarter and seeing how many readers, many of whom didn't know who I was, in our last campaign, and many of them still don't know who I am. Seeing just that overwhelming support, it really. They say comics can break your heart, but sometimes comics love you back. And I think the OZ has really kind of been one of the clearer examples in my comics career of the industry loving me back.
Like it.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good book. I was enjoying the whole thing the whole way through. It didn't the pacing in it is really good. I didn't feel like it was dragging or you're just like, God, when does it end? Like, nope. It ended and I was like, wait, what?
There's more.
Need more.
Well, the fun thing about part 2 is, for anyone who read our first issue, it was a little bit of a character study. We were getting into Dorothy's head and sort of seeing how her time overseas affected her, and when she's thrown into Oz, how did the land of Oz get turned into the occupied zone? And now that we've sort of had our vegetables, we've done the exposition, we've set up the book. Now we really get to put pedal to the metal and just floor it. And so we're getting to, now that Dorothy has joined the resistance, she's answered the hero's call. She's finding that things are very different than when she was in Iraq and Afghanistan. She was one of many over there. So there was a degree of anonymity. She wasn't making broad stroke decisions. In Oz, because of who her grandmother is, she's seen as royalty. And so everyone's looking to her for answers. She's a symbol. She's a figurehead just as much as a soldier. And those are different skill sets. It's a heavy burden of responsibility, and one that's only going to get heavier now that the location of the Silver Slippers has been found, and everyone's on a race for it. The Scarecrow's regime wants the Silver Slippers in order to invade our world and turn Oz into a perpetual war machine. So Dorothy's really she's trying to defend two worlds, but she's outgunned and she's outmanned, and that means she's going to go to some desperate places for help. And that's the thing I love most about this new issue of the OZ is we get to explore some dangerous new territory and introduce some really fun new characters. We get to see more of Toto. We get to see.
Yes, I specifically wanted to ask because I love that you put Toto in there. Like, what made you guys want to do Toto as the
leader of the resistance? It's going to sound sappy, but I've grown up with Cairn Terriers my whole life. Those little dogs. And when I started writing the OZ, we had adopted my parents' terrier, Holly. And so I was writing those pages when we first adopted her. And I got the artwork shortly after she passed away. And we were lucky that we were able to care for her last year. She had melanoma. And so when we got that diagnosis, I immediately rewrote Toto's entire arc. He was supposed to have a short role. And I said, nope. Whatever I can't make happen in reality, I'm going to fix it in my work. And so if you like Toto, you're going to love issue 2 because he's got a big damn hero that I think is my favorite part of maybe my favorite scene in the whole series.
Ooh.
But
that's exciting.
And we get to see the Prince of Lions, our twist on the Courageous Lion. He's Ruben Rojas's favorite character to draw. And so seeing some of the fun stuff, a lot of inspiration from Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther in the mix. What's the calculus of courage when you're the leader of a country? It's different than when you're fighting for yourself. You have to think of everybody else and what does courage look like under that. And he will have a lot in common with Dorothy as a result, as another reluctant leader who's feeling the pressures of responsibility. And Jack Pumpkinhead, who you see a little bit in our preview, he's going to be the wild card in this issue. And he's sort of the Scarecrow's lead enforcer, and seeing how he comes head to head with Dorothy and crew over the course of this issue. He's a super fun character to write, very blue collar sensibilities. A lot. If you like Taskmaster in the Marvel books, you'll like him. Just a mercenary with a sense of humor and a gift for killing. So throwing all these in the mix, this is where the series really clicks into high gear. I think this is where the team really comes together in a big way. If you like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VII, those kind of archetype teams, you're gonna love the OZ. Those games have huge influences in the book, and I really love seeing how these characters all kind of play off of one another in a really fun kind of way.
Nice. So someone was asking in the chat, how do you support the Kickstarter? So I brought the page up here.
Yes, if you visit bit.ly/theozcomic or the OZ Comic 2, they'll both take you to this page. And if you missed our last campaign, don't worry. We've got catch-up tiers to get you up to speed for both issues 1 and 2. We've got just about, if you're new to my work, we have package sets with all of my trade paperbacks. If you're a collector, we've got 4 variant covers. You can get a bundled set, 4 covers for the price of 3. Or if you missed our first Kickstarter and you're a diehard collector, you can get 9 covers, all 9 covers that we've put out so far. And I want to say that's for the price of like 7.5. So yeah, just a lot of deals. We're trying to meet our backers where they're at financially. That said, if you're a high roller, we've got some really cool prestige tiers as well. We've got Skype sessions with me. I not only have I written for a bunch of publishers, I was the reviews editor at Newsarama. I've got these Kickstarters. So I'm happy to talk with you about writing your own comics, how to do publicity, how to do a Kickstarter, how to navigate Hollywood. You set the agenda. We've got original commissions from series artist Ruben Rojas. We've got a chance to get drawn into the book. And if you're a diehard fan of any of my other work, we've got special limited edition handmade Spencer and Locke plushies. So if you like Spencer and Locke, you can get your doll. We only made a very small handful. And our Ranger Scout merit badges. If you haven't read my book, Scout's Honor, it's about a post-apocalyptic Boy Scout cult. We put out a handful of merit badges to the direct market for each issue. But there are 14 of them that were made. Some of them are exclusives to things like Comics Pro. Some are exclusives, I think, to cons. I think one might be exclusive just to Aftershock and Aftershock staffers. This is going to be your only chance to get all 14 from my personal collection. So we can be the ultimate Ranger Scout as well as the ultimate Yellow Brick Road Warrior. Like I said, there's everything at every sort of level. We've already talked about our first stretch goal, a digital comics extravaganza that'll add another 200 pages at least of comics content from up and coming indie creators, people like Justin Jordan, Rylan Grant, Clay Adams, Kat Kalamia, and many more. And stay tuned because we have a lot more cool add-ons. If you liked our enamel pin last time, for example, you might want to share and spread the Kickstarter because we might have something cool in that vein coming up as another stretch goal. Who knows? Who knows what might happen?
Stretch goals galore. I mean, it's already rocking and rolling.
Yeah, we're very excited. Ultimately for me, it's about how many readers can we get on board. The reason I did Kickstarter was because it's a whole demographic that we hadn't served in the direct market, that we had done no outreach to. And it's so nice to be just having a direct one-to-one pipeline to our readership. And so, yeah, I love Kickstarter, and I plan on using it for future projects for the foreseeable future once we wrap up with the OZ.
Yeah. So we got some Scouts Honor love here.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
collector.
Have no badges.
Yes. Well, I was going to say we put out, I want to say, let's see, we had 5 issues come out plus the incentive cover. So I think we've had 6 badges come out so far. We'll have a 7th coming out with the trade.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want the other 7, this is the place to get it.
I tried to get the trade with the badge from my LCS. They're like, we're not going to order enough to get them. And I was like, really? It's only 5. You only have to order 5.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm going to order from somewhere else then to get the badge.
Here?
Like, all right, we'll get it somehow. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, it's just, I don't even know which badge they have for the trade. But yeah.
I think it had the grenade on it.
Oh, see, the explosives merit badge. That's probably my favorite merit badge. I wrote backstories on every single one of them. I did it over.
I love that.
Over a weekend. And so, yeah, anybody who's got the first issue of Scouts Honor, you can see all those badges in the back with all the little backstories. Those are real badges, and you can get them exclusively here on the Kickstarter.
Yeah. And just to show everyone, that right there is the main cover for issue number 2, featuring the lion.
Yeah, by Ruben Rojas. That's our interior artist. So, like, literally every page looks that good. And yeah, Ruben just did some terrific stuff. We had seen it was a cover by, I think it was by Art Adams, of Venom, and he was like pinning down, I think, Wolverine and Nightcrawler, and I was like, that's dope. Like, can we do something like that? And Ruben just knocked it clean out of the park, like he always does. Yeah. So yeah, just wait, because if you think like that cover and you think our preview looks interesting, it's only going to look better from here.
Yeah, I love the interior art. I think it's great. I think it fits the tone of the story really well.
No, Ruben, he's like Dan Mora meets Sean Murphy. I mean, just really a real kinetic talent. And I'm so thrilled that I found him. And I'm so thrilled that he loves post-apocalyptic and low fantasy genres. So I actually, when I met him, I had 3 projects that I was looking for artists for. And I'd sent him Grand Theft Astro, my upcoming sci-fi book with Top Cow. Another project, which is going to get a surprising second life, hopefully soon. So much fun. And then this, and he just jumped on it, and I'm so thrilled. His world building and his sense of design are just so incredible. And he's just a super nice guy to boot. Just such a gracious collaborator and partner. And so I this will not be the last book that I work on with Ruben Rojas. He's that good that I want to ride his coattails for as long as he'll let me.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, that's our variant cover from Mon House. Mon has worked with me on every single series that I've ever done. And so we wanted to keep the streak alive. And he and I, we have a fun process where like I'll sort of give him an idea and I will draw like a very crude stick figure version of it. And then Mon will make sense of that and make it look good. And so I was like, what if we have a giant lion and somebody like falling and then there's the city behind them? And Mon was like, okay, I think I know what you're talking about. And then he drew that. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's terrific.
Pulled it right out of my head.
Wavelength.
Yeah, that's much better than I had imagined. And then there's Fareed Karimi. You might know him. He did the Night Gwen one-shot over at Marvel. He's doing the first issue of Luke Cage. He's the winner or second place or runner-up of the Top Cow Talent Hunt. And he works for the same agency that Ruben does. And so I had been looking through the roster and I was like, oh, Fareed, he looks terrific. And when he did that, he really knocked it out of the park. Our colorist, Roche, just really kind of elevated it even further. Just a terrific looking thing. And Roche is actually working on some extra art for our enhanced versions of issue 2 now.
Nice.
We've got some cool pinups that we're adding to the mix. He's just a really terrific colorist, and I can't wait to work with him on some more stuff. And then you can see this is our third and so far final variant cover from Sem Iraz from the Pride over at Comixology. Spectacular Spider-Man number 200 is one of my favorite covers of all time, and so we decided to do an homage to that here in Sem's cover with the Prince of Lions and Jack. And I couldn't be more thrilled with what Sem did with this. It's sort of our Spider-Man Green Goblin riff. And
it's pretty badass.
Yeah. I always try to do little homages to the covers that I like, that I grew up with. We did a Dark Knight Returns cover in Spencer and Locke. But this is just like, this is one of my favorites. And I'm so glad that Sem lent us some of his genius to pull that one off. And who knows? We had a 5th secret cover in our last campaign, so who's to say that the past might not repeat itself with our upcoming stretch goal? I got to update that section because we are gunning for our first stretch goal at $25,000 for our digital comics extravaganza, and who knows what we might hit once we hit 30.
Lots of things. And these are the issue 1 covers.
That's Ruben's cover. That was actually the very first drawing of the Tin Soldier that we ever did.
Nailed it on the first one.
First one.
This is good. We're done. This is it.
That image got Ruben hired. I told him we had only done 6 pages, and then he dropped that. And I said, "You're hired." And I said, "Keep drawing. I will make this book. I promise." Promise fulfilled. Mon House's first issue cover. We have we will have some pins available on our backer kit store that look just like that.
That's dope.
Those are very popular in our last campaign. Who knows what other enamel pins we might have in the works. Rio Burton did a terrific first issue cover with us, and she's working on some extra stuff for us that we might show off a little later in the campaign.
Nice.
Yeah, she's terrific. And then Kenneth Wagnon, love Kenneth. That's our Akira homage. He also is hard at work on something that we will probably roll out in the third campaign.
All these little nuggets.
Yeah, I want to keep my crew, and that's there's Anna Wysex. That's her secret 5th cover that we unlocked as a stretch goal at the end of our last campaign. We unlocked it within like the final hours of the last campaign, and who knows what else we might have in store in that vein.
And it's 3 issues, right? So there's 3. One more after this one.
There's going to be one more after this. I had written this originally as 6 standard-sized issues. I found that they paired together nicely as double-sized. And in part, it was because I wanted to make sure our Kickstarter backers didn't get confused, which Kickstarter had I backed previously. And I also didn't want to give myself a nervous breakdown by trying to do 6 of these. So 3 feels a little more manageable in terms of packing and shipping.
You get a lot to read at once, too,
yeah,
which is nice.
It's not overwhelming.
Yeah, we want to give readers bang for their buck. We recognize this is a higher price point than the direct market. These are artisanal comics that you're getting straight from the creators. I do think Kickstarter is one of the best ways to have a financially equitable system to make comics. But as a result, we wanted to make sure that readers are getting their money's worth. That we're continuing to add enhancements to make sure that this is going to be a fun read with a lot of rewards to it. That's why every single tier, from the $5 thank you tier on up, you will get the first issue PDF of Spencer and Locke and Going to the Chapel. That is just as a thank you from the OZ team to our readers, thanking them for giving us a shot. $10, you get the PDF of the OZ, plus my scripts, plus Ruben's raw inks, plus Whitney's untouched colors, plus the digital comics extravaganza, so another 200 plus pages. And it only sort of scales up from there, especially as we keep hitting new stretch goals. We'll have a lot more fun stuff to offer.
Yeah, and like I say, pull this back up because the
people always like
the side there. So even just like you just look, there's tons of things in each category, like you're saying. Yeah, I was looking at like way down when you were talking about like the merit badges and all that, and it was just this long list.
Of
there's a lot of money, but you get a lot of stuff.
You get a lot of things.
A lot of stuff.
You get like 14 things.
Yeah, we never want readers to feel like they're being chiseled. Especially with international shipping being what it is. And so, we want to make sure that everybody's sort of getting bang for their buck, and that we can meet readers where they're at in terms of accessibility and affordability.
Yeah,
definitely makes sense.
So last time, just to talk about another one of your comics real quick.
Yeah,
I hadn't gotten to read Spencer and Locke yet. And you were like, it's grown up Calvin and Hobbes, and I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. But I didn't realize that also meant there were Calvin and Hobbes like strips in here as well, to kind of match, or maybe flashback or show things like that. And I was like, okay, this just is even more awesome than I thought it was going to be.
Thank you. Artist Jorge Santiago Jr. He's so versatile. He's an artist. I love working with him. He's my comics partner in crime. And I had wanted to do Calvin and Hobbes style flashbacks. For those who haven't read Spencer and Locke, it's what if Calvin and Hobbes grew up in Sin City? And it's about hard-boiled detective Locke, who is investigating the murder of his childhood sweetheart alongside his partner, who happens to be a 7-foot-tall imaginary Blue Panther named Spencer. And, the question is, what kind of upbringing would make a full-grown man vividly hallucinate his own best friend? And it's pretty harrowing.
A worthwhile question for society to ask.
His upbringing would.
His upbringing is pretty messed up. But I had said literally at the very first page, I was like, I want to do like flashbacks in the style of Bill Watterson, as close to it as we can get. And I remember I had hired Jorge, and I was like, okay, do you need me to get another artist to do the flashbacks? And he's like, no, I got it. I was like, you got it?
So chill about it.
Yeah, like, I got it. No problem. I was like, you're going to do an impression? And he does like a magnificent Bill Watterson impression. one that like still feels like Jorge. It's not like a one for
It's
one.
probably something he like grew up drawing, but drawing his own version of, just like his
Yeah.
whole life.
And just the way that he really threads the needle, because it's drawn in a very cutesy way, some incredibly messed up stuff, and in a way that's not supposed to be exploitive, you know, and not supposed to be tittillating and not supposed to be funny, but just like genuinely horrifying. In a
Some
cute
happy tree
style.
friends going on.
Yeah, you know, it's the book succeeded on Jorge's shoulders. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he and I, we talked a lot about it, especially some of the more harrowing flashbacks. We, you know, would rewrite and redraw to be like, nope, this is like, this can't be funny. This can't be, you know, this is not a punchline. That book really taught me that, like, if you treat your characters with compassion and respect, what you're really doing is treating your readers that way. People who do have real life trauma and PTSD and have grown up in abusive upbringings, and people who grapple with mental illness, by not treating it as a joke. People, I think, have found a lot that's resonated with them in this book, and that's been particularly inspiring to me as a creator since.
And they're so well done in explaining his past, all of those flashbacks, without, I think all of them are pretty spoilery as to
yeah, but
what
you know,
happened. But
wait till you get to our Spaceman Spiff issue. That's always my favorite of the first volume. You know, I was like, well, you can't do a Calvin and Hobbes book without Spaceman Spiff. And so the way we kind of got our way into that, I'm pretty pleased with how we did it.
How much can you tell me about this Fast and Furious in space?
Yeah, Grand Theft Astro.
Grand Theft Astro, that's what it is.
So the book is written. We're sort of getting our ducks in a row in the art side of things. I finished writing it actually a little while back during COVID. And Grand Theft Astro, it's like Fast and the Furious meets Back to the Future with a little bit of Star Wars in the mix. A little bit of Rogue One might say. It's about Hakeem Henriksen, who is the fastest star chaser in the galaxy. Because as human beings know, whether it's horses or chariots or cars or spaceships, if you can drive it, you will race it. And so he's been winning prestige and pink slips on the Iron Mile as the fastest star chaser in the galaxy. But during a particularly pitched race, he decides to test out an experimental quantum supercharger that tears open a wormhole 7 years into the future. And so Hakeem, who's used to being in first, suddenly wakes up in a universe that's long since left him in the dust. And so now he's going to have to team up with his formerly younger brother, who is now older than him, and a street criminal in his own right, to embark in a faster-than-light heist for a piece of technology that might just bring him home. The question is, when life's a competition, what's the only direction you can move? And the answer is forward. I really love that book, and I can't wait for it to come out. It's been a long time coming. We've just been getting our ducks in a row on the art side of things. But it's a little lighter in its feet than a book like Spencer and Locke or even the OZ, which are, a little, they're weightier subjects. But the dynamics, the family dynamics, the action and all this, I really love that series, and I cannot wait for it to see the light of day. And hopefully sooner rather than later. Just COVID kind of threw a giant wrench in the art side of things. But we're slowly getting everything back on track. But the book is written, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out.
Awesome.
It's my first real true sci-fi book.
I'm excited. I love the sci-fi.
I can't wait for people to get to see it.
You said that's coming through Top Cow, so it'll come out through Image then? Is that who they're publishing with? Okay.
Yeah. They're an imprint of Image. So we're still kind of getting the critical mass of artwork together. Before we can.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. But I can't wait for that book to come out. It has been a long time coming, and if I had my druthers, it would have been out a year ago. It's going to be a fun one.
Awesome. Can't wait. So, what other things you reading right now that you're having fun with?
Yeah. Boy, stuff I'm reading right now. Well, so the X-Men line, that's sort of gotten me through the pandemic, and I'm sort of putting my fingers in my ears of that Hickman sort of wrapping up his tenure. I'm sort of saying, hopefully, he's left a lot of plans. Hopefully, he will still continue in some advisory capacity, because that line is so bold and so just trying new things that I've really been enamored with it for a long time.
Giant master plan. Him like moving all these pieces.
Hopefully he
around.
doesn't pull a George R.R. Martin and just like disassociate completely.
Yeah. James Tynan's been doing some really interesting work, both on his Batman run. I think they consider it very additive, as well as Department of Truth, and Nice House on the Lake, which is terrific.
Yeah, Nice House is phenomenal.
Really?
I was ready to not like it, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Fucking great again.
I had to get this so I could keep track of everybody.
Yeah, I made him send a picture to me. I was like, I need this. You don't understand.
Let's see, who else am I really digging? Jed McKay is really knocking it out of the park with Black Cat and Moon Knight, and I think Jed is such an underrated writer. I think anything with his name on it, I'm going to give it a shot at this point.
Are you reading his Magic also?
No, I don't know Magic the Gathering at all.
I didn't either.
You don't need to.
If
you like fantasy, if you like Lord of the Rings, you will like it.
Okay, I will have to give it a shot. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr has been terrific.
So good.
Ram V, he's topping all the comic book roundup. It's a fantastic book. Eve over
yes,
that I think has been overlooked by a lot of people. It's really terrific.
So
I just caught up on Maniac of New York over at Aftershock. I really dug that a lot. Shadow Doctor, those are some really great books over there. Vault is just killing it with Autumnal.
Yes.
I just saw that new announcement. What's Fox and Hare? Maybe I think it was called.
It's like an Asian cyberpunk style story.
Yeah, it looks terrific.
What?
That book looks super up my alley. They just
I
announced
need to go find that announcement.
I'll show you later.
I'm trying to remember what exactly it's called. But it's Fox and Hare. Yeah, Fox and Hare. It's got Stacey Lee on art, who she drew the Silk comic for a while. Funny enough, I had reached out to Stacey years ago, the day before they announced Silk, to be like, hey, I got some comics ideas. Would you want to do
work with me?
She was very nice to be like, well, I kind of have a big announcement coming.
You're like, I can't. I'm sorry.
I did that with Daniel Warren Johnson too. I emailed him. And he was like, yeah, I'm in the middle of Ghost Fleet. And I was like, oh, okay. Those are the ones that are immediately springing to mind. But, the one thing that always kills me about that question is anytime somebody asks, I'm like, oh, there's always a bunch of books that I completely have forgotten about in the moment.
Someone asks, and I forget every book I've ever read in that moment. And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I'm thinking, I know I'm reading stuff at DC. Superman 79 and Batman.
I would say Joker issue 6 was better than issue 5.
Really? Okay.
I had opinions on issue 5.
I might be behind it. I don't know which issue of Joker I read last. But
flashback issue.
Okay. Did Frank Avila draw that? Or am I hallucinating that?
No, it was a different artist. And I feel like because he had a different artist, he phoned it in. But I'm not talking about that anymore. It's fine. Done. Moved on.
But I there's a lot of cool stuff going on right now. And I'm excited to kind of see how, what's next in the industry. I think we're bracing for a big shakeup, just kind of industry wide, because you see how many of the biggest established names are going to Substack. And I think that's going to sort of open up a lot of things for a lot of people. And I'm excited to see kind of what happens next with all that.
Yeah, that's actually it was some of the people you're talking about. You were enjoying their books, and then some of their books are ending because they are going over to Substack to do different independent creative projects.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the industry in a nutshell. Is there's always going to be churn, and yeah, I'm excited to be a part of that industry. As I mean, there uncertainty certainly can breed anxiety, but it can also breed opportunity, and it can breed sort of changes for the positive. And seeing so many talented creators. I just saw that Danny Laura just announced a new book, and I'm such a huge fan of Danny's. We're in a Dungeons and Dragons group together, and Danny is so wonderful. Just seeing all the all the stuff that like these creators are putting together, it's very inspiring. And so, yeah.
It's hard not to just be like, and I want to read this and this and this, and all of them.
Yeah, I do that and I regret it, but I don't.
I know. That's the challenge is, like you said, there's just so many cool, inspiring stories out there now. And it's like, how do I choose which ones to go for? And, like Kickstarters to back. And there's even more cool things out there in the Kickstarter world too.
Yeah. Lunar Room, that's Danny's new book. And Danny's wanted to write werewolf stuff for as long as I've known them. And so the fact that they're getting their
one from Vault.
Yeah.
Yes. That was really good.
The fact that Danny's getting their shot to do a big werewolf book, I'm so happy for them. And I honestly can't wait to get to read it.
I'm excited for some werewolf business.
Yeah.
I saw that, I think it was yesterday that they posted about it, and yeah, so down.
I have a werewolf idea in the back of my head, but I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to pull it off. But one day, either werewolves or vampires, but like that's something on my bucket list is I want to do like a weird monster mashup thing.
Just do like a Monster of the Week comic. Like do a 5-issue what is the word that I want? Where like
anthology.
They're on the same, yes, anthology. That word, thank you. Just do like a 5-issue anthology, Monster of the Week.
I am working on another anthology project that I'm working on a story with Mon House actually right now.
Ooh.
So Mon is kind of slowly chipping away at some pages. I actually got to hit him up to be like, where are my pages? But yeah, it's super dope. He's gotten through a good chunk of them. But when you see it again, it's the kind of concept that you're like, that's Pepose. And you're like half excited, but kind of half mad. And that's like the sweet spot in which I live.
Okay.
So I'm very excited for people to see this short that we've been putting together, because it is probably one of the single best / dumbest titles that I've ever come up with. And it is a title that it really does explain the whole story.
Okay.
So I'm excited for people to get to see.
So is it one of those long titles then?
It's a longer title than I usually do, but not like we only find them when they're dead, or something is killing the children, or the nice house on the lake. It's not that long, but it's a 5-word title, which is long for me.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll say what genre we're
That's how long something is killing the children is.
Well, all I can say is horror related.
Okay.
Spooky.
So I'm looking at like the books that you have out there. You've kind of been hitting all over the genres there.
I want to do horror so badly, and I'm hard at work on trying to get a horror thing out the door. And
horror's definitely having its moment in comics right now, for sure.
No, I've got a few horror ideas in my back pocket, and they're on my to-do list. And I think besides Astro and besides a YA book that's very close to my heart that we're getting art on now, horror is the next creator-owned thing I want to do.
Nice.
So fingers crossed that it plays out that way for me.
Yeah. Like I was saying, you're got all these other genres. That's the one that you haven't hit yet. And,
surprise.
And then Supernatural later on, it sounds like, when you get that idea going.
I want to be like Baskin Robbins, like 31 flavors, something for everyone.
I like
I
it.
support this decision.
Yeah. So, I
Gotta
Yeah.
get a little Marvel and DC in there.
yeah, fingers crossed.
Captain Planet.
Captain Planet, whoever's got the rights to that, call me. I will say, I saw,
Just start tweeting at them every day. It worked for Simu Liu. It'll work for you.
That's true. I really should. They have a Twitter account.
Do it. Just start tweeting at them every day.
Yeah, just have an auto tweet once a day. Be like, hey, who has the rights to
At some point, they'll either block you or ask you for a sample of your writing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be like, look what I got. Like, let's make something fun together.
Here's everything I've done. Bam.
Yeah.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Yeah, I got to get that green for Captain Planet. But yeah, that's the cool thing about the comics industry. It keeps shaking up, but it's never going away. Things are going to change and shift, and that's totally cool. But I'm excited to be a part of all this. And, I still hope that DC and Webtoon will, ask me to write Shazam. But beyond that, like I never.
Again, I repeat my earlier statement. Just tweet at them every day.
When they had the announcement, I don't usually tag DC and stuff, but I was like, DC, is it too early to ask who's writing Shazam? Because I would write Shazam. That's my bucket list DC character.
So I think nobody retweet it and at DC and get the movement going.
Manifest that shit.
I need to know people at DC before that ever really gets any traction.
Just tweet at them. That's how you get to know them.
It's the one company I know no editors at. But who knows? Maybe we'll change that. But yeah, no, for now I'm having a blast. I'm having a blast with the OZ because I feel like it's a story that I don't have to ask permission anymore. Kickstarter is so empowering for creators. I now know how to do my own printing, my own shipping and distribution and fulfillment. And, doing that on top of the editorial work I know how to do and on top of the publicity I know how to do and on top of knowing how to write, I don't have to wait anymore. And, I think that's a really empowering thing. And the fact that Kickstarter is such a vibrant platform that you're able to sort of, build that readership. It's really encouraging and really inspiring for me.
So the other thing we talked about before, I think, was when things were looking a little bit more promising was cons in the fall.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be going to Baltimore.
Right now I'm scheduled for Baltimore, New York, and Rose City. And we'll see how everything goes with with the pandemic. But
yeah,
so far it's very
good for Baltimore.
Yeah, well, I know. New York just required vaccination proof or a negative test within like 3 days of the con. So that's really encouraging. I don't remember if Rose City is doing something similar. I don't know if Baltimore is doing anything similar or not. Emerald City, they just sent an email out today saying they're not letting anybody know until the end of the month. I think Reed Pop is sort of watching the horizon to see what happens.
Yeah.
But I am, it's one of those things. I miss cons, and if there's a way to do it, safely, I'm all for it. Just because I miss my readers, and I mean,
if we got them wear masks, just cosplay.
I do have a mask that says, "Do you like Calvin and Hobbes?" on it. So
there you go.
Perfect.
So I will be wearing that to conventions. But yeah, no, I miss shows. I miss being able to try new log lines and new marketing pitches, and conventions are the best place to do it. It's the best R&D I can possibly ask for. But in the meantime, Kickstarter feels like the ultimate con, convention, not swindling. But just there's sort of that interactivity and getting to talk with fans, and really the sense of ownership that fans feel, because these books wouldn't exist without them in a real way.
Yeah.
And so I'm enjoying Kickstarter, but I'm excited to hit the road. When it's safe to do so. And so yeah, I think my first con back is Rose City next month. as
Nice.
long as everything's safe to do so. And I'm excited to see all the fans there.
Fingers crossed.
Maybe start making those DC connections at the cons. No?
Tweet at them. Tweet at them. Do it.
But
Maybe once a month. Maybe start with once a month and then go to once a week and then once a day.
yeah, exactly.
Titrate your harassment.
Yeah. Is there a Shazam series out right now?
Yeah. Tim Sheridan, I think, is the guy's name who writes it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's tied into the Teen Titans book. I'm pretty sure. I'm a little behind on it. There's a lot of sort of continuity stuff.
Yeah, he was at the
Billy,
Teen Titans Academy.
Yeah, and like Billy's in Hell, I think. So yeah, it's
okay.
There's a lot going on. It's a lot of continuity related stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like, to me, if I ever had my druthers, Billy would be the type of character that would exist best, not outside of continuity, but kind of just doing his own thing. Yeah, he's
part of continuity, but it's over in this pocket of the universe.
Yeah,
he's got his own little like family squad.
Yeah, it's a little like Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's how I see Billy.
Yeah,
he's like Aang. He's powerful, but he's just a good kid. That's who he is. He's just got a good heart and a good head on his shoulders, and who just happens to have the wisdom of Solomon and the power of Zeus. That's the appeal to me. Is that's the reason I like Superman so much as well. But yeah, if anybody ever offered, I'd write Billy Batson for 10 years if they let me. He's my favorite character at DC, and absolutely on my bucket list to write.
All right, so we're gonna clip that, and then we're gonna put that in a tweet and send it to
DC right there. Every day.
Go for it.
Oh man,
your lips to DC's ears.
I want to drop the link again for the Kickstarter for the OZ issue 1 and 2, or 2 if you already got issue number 1 there in the chat. It's also down below in the description if you're watching later on the replay. Go click that link. Go back the OZ. Awesome comic. First issue and the first couple little teaser pages of the second issue. Very excited to see where that goes afterwards.
Thank you. We're thrilled to have everybody on board. And yeah, if you're watching this and you haven't backed us yet, join the Emerald Army. Follow us into the trenches of the occupied zone. I promise you won't regret becoming a Yellow Brick Road warrior.
Nice.
Absolutely not. I love it. The Emerald Army. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Anything else that you want to plug or talk about?
Well, the Scouts Honor trade paperback comes out September 8th. You can order that at your local comic shop. The code is JUL211246. I know final order cutoff has ended, but it's a trade paperback. Final order cutoff,
still order it.
Matter that much.
Yeah.
You can also follow me on social media at Twitter and Instagram at PeposeD. It's just my last name and first initial. David Pepose Comics on Facebook. You can subscribe to my newsletter, Pep Talks, at bit.ly/pepnews, or visit my website, davidpepose.com, for the latest and greatest David Pepose news.
I think I might have all of that going, except maybe the website. I don't regularly check the website, but
I actually have to update it post Kickstarter. So we got something for everybody up there.
Nice.
I
had the Twitter open because I had the chat open from that, so I just dropped that into the
tweet every day.
Tweet the chat there for anyone who does Twitter and wants to follow you on there.
Yeah, please do, because I will be talking nonstop about the OZ and any other cool stuff I've got coming down the pike. So yes, my Twitter and newsletter, those are the best places to check out all my stuff.
And you see all the updates and stuff. I think several times a day, it's we're at this % now, which is awesome to see how much further past the goal you've made it and how much people are enjoying.
Still going.
We're very excited. We're at 586 backers right now, and I can't wait for us to clear 600 and show people what else we got in store.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Very exciting.
Let's see. Yeah, super cool that quickly it's.
Yeah.
We funded in 40 minutes, which
Oh,
shocked me.
Jesus.
Shocked me. I'm so thrilled. I'm so humbled by all that, and yeah, we're gonna show our readers issue 2 is gonna be worth the wait.
Yeah, I think I looked Monday morning and I was like, oh, it's not live yet, and then I looked after work and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yep. We're like, and done.
Yeah. I launched it, and then I had to send emails. I had to send a newsletter, and I had to send updates, and I had to put stuff on social media. And by the time I finished all that, we were like 75% funded already. And I was like, okay, all right,
people were waiting.
This is pretty good.
Yeah.
So yes, but the best is yet to come. We're going to still keep adding value to the mix. So keep watching, keep backing, keep sharing, because it's going to benefit every single reader. I promise.
Yeah,
love it.
Hitting those goals, the stretch goals that are coming
stretch
out.
On stretch on stretch.
Stretch on stretch.
Well, thanks again for hopping on with us. I know you're on a media blitz tour now, talking about this, and
no, my new Toto Ruby woke me up at 3 a.m. So no, I'm going to do some updates, and I'm going to take a nap.
There we go.
We definitely have to have you back for Grand Theft Astro, because I'm too hyped about that.
I can't wait. Can't wait to show you what we have for that. But thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you to everyone for watching.
Yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat who were watching earlier, watching now, watching on the replay, hopping in at the end there. Jay Ramirez, thank you. Yeah, everyone, have a nice night, and
enjoy your comics.
Go read your new comics and go back the OZ.
Yes. Night, everyone.